Hello guys and welcome back to Excel Store Academy. So we were doing about the biological membranes and yesterday we talked about ligand-gated channels, right? Wherein which we have discussed about the acetylcholine receptors, two types are there, nicotinic and the muscarinic receptors are there, right? Now in today's lecture, we'll talk about the chloride bicarbonate exchanger. That is a facilitated diffusion of CO2 exchange. Now guys, if you remember in the previous lectures, okay, in the starting of the cell biology, I have mentioned about the band 3. Do you remember band 3 proteins when we were discussing about the integral proteins which are present in the plasma membranes? So one is very important, one is band 3. Do you remember guys? So this band 3 is also known as chloride bicarbonate exchanger, or it is also known as anion exchanger. Okay. So these are just the synonyms of the same protein. So just don't get confused because band 3 has got many other function also. So in this, we'll see how exactly the band 3 is acting as a chloride bicarbonate exchanger. So it is present in erythrocytes and anion exchanger, which is essential in the CO2 transport to the lungs and from the tissues such as skeletal muscles and the liver. Now, we know that carbon dioxide is released from the respiring tissues into the blood plasma. It enters the erythrocytes where it is converted to bicarbonate ion by a carbonic anhydrase enzyme. So what is happening once CO2 is released by the respiring tissue? So क्या होगा in the blood plasma? CO2 plus water will become now H2CO3. Correct? Now, this is in equilibrium HCO3 minus. This is a bicarbonate. Now, this is the thing in by which the CO2 is getting transferred. Okay. So this bicarbonate ions re-enter the blood plasma for transport to the lungs. In the lungs, this bicarbonate re-enter the erythrocyte. It is converted to CO2. Now this CO2 is then released into the lungs, which is then exhaled out. Okay. Did you get the little rough idea? So what is happening? You know that oxygen which is taken, right, while respiring. So what is happening? Oxygen is taken and it is given to the tissues. Now these tissues are giving CO2 out. So this CO2 will go into the plasma where it is going to convert into the carbonic acid and the bicarbonate. Now this bicarbonate, okay, now in the lungs, okay, in the lungs, it is present in the blood plasma. So जो blood plasma आपका lungs में है, वहां पे क्या होगा? बायकार्बोनेट वापस आरबीसी में जाएगा, आरबीसी में ये CO2 बनेगा and then it will be released out. Okay, I'll show the figure. I think that will be more clear. Look at this figure now. So this is your RBC. Okay, guys, are you able to hear me properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now look at over here. So this is your one RBC we are talking about. Okay, now on the RBC you have got this bicarbonate chloride exchanger, which is nothing but your band 3 only. Okay, now what is happening? See, carbon dioxide, which is produced by catabolism, enters the erythrocyte. It means what? These are your carbon dioxide released from the respiring tissue. जो आपके cells हो गए जो काम कर रहे हैं. So what happens? The metabolize, the end product is the CO2. Okay. Now this CO2 is going to enter the RBC where with the help of the carbonic anhydrase, okay, which has got the maximum catalytic turnover enzyme, okay, it binds with the water and becomes bicarbonate. अब क्या हुआ है? From the RBCs, it is released into the blood plasma. The bicarbonate dissolves in the blood plasma and Cl minus goes inside. So एक बाहर जा रहा है, एक अंदर आ रहा है. So this is also an example of antiporter. Remember, we have discussed about the types of the transport system: uniporter, same porter, antiporter. So this is antiporter. एक अगर अंदर आ रहा है तो दूसरा आपका बाहर जा रहा है. Okay. Now this is happening in the case of the tissue. So what does it mean? जो भी आरबीसी आपके टिश्यूज के पास है वहां पे CO2 एंटर हुआ है, बाइकार्बोनेट बना है एंड रिलीज होके प्लाज्मा में as bicarbonate it is existing. ठीक है. Now this blood plasma, as you know, इट इज ट्रैवलिंग टू द ऑल पार्ट्स ऑफ द बॉडी, ठीक है। तो ये कैसा होता है, हार्ट का क्या काम होता है, जो ब्लड आपका सेल्स टिश्यूज के पास है वो आपको वापस भी तो लंग्स में लाना है, राइट। सो देना एंड वापस लेना, सो द ब्लड which is carrying the blood plasma is now reaching the lungs. Okay, lungs में क्या होगा, in the lungs the RBCs which is sorry the blood plasma which is carrying the bicarbonate is going to enter into the RBC. अभी फिर से क्या हुआ है, look in the figure. So bicarbonate goes inside of the RBC, chloride बाहर आता है. So this is balance, this is balance, correct. Now this bicarbonate with the help of the same enzyme carbonic anhydrous gets converted to CO2. Now this CO2 is released, leaves the RBC and in the lung this is expire out. तो ये वो CO2 है जो हम बाहर छोड़ते हैं when we are breathing out. Okay, so this is how the band 3 or the chloride bicarbonate exchanger is playing an important role in the exchange of gases. Is this much clear, guys? Any doubts over here? Do you want me to repeat? Any doubts? Yes, Shruti?
No, ma'am, it's clear.
It's clear, right? And this is very important. Okay, please, I'm telling again, this is really very important. Question इसमें से बहुत बार आ चुका है. Now, anion exchanger types. Sorry. Anion exchanger type. So we have got type 1, type 2, type 3. So type 1, what we have just discussed now, is present in the erythrocytes. Then in the case of 2, we have got liver. And in the brain, heart and retina, we have got the transporter 3 type. Okay, simple. ये तो कोई नहीं पूछेगा, this is just the extra information. Now let's talk about the ion channel blockers. So blockers means we are going to talk about जैसे किसी का हार्ट रेट बहुत ज्यादा स्लो हो जाता है, तो हमें ऐसा क्या ड्रग देना चाहिए जिससे वो नॉर्मल हो जाए। कभी कभी किसी का हार्ट रेट बहुत ज्यादा हो जाता है, लाइक इट्स वेरी हाई, then you need to give certain blockers so that it comes to the normal. If you must have seen, like in many criminal cases, okay, the maximum death is by the कार्डियक अरेस्ट और हार्ट अटैक, राइट। तो कैसा होता है, जो क्रिमिनल होते हैं वो मैक्सिमम टाइम ऐसा कुछ दवाई दे देते हैं जिसकी वजह से हार्ट बीट ज्यादा हो जाती है एंड द पर्सन इज नॉट एबल टू गेट स्टेबलाइज एंड हेंस दे डाई, ठीक है। तो ये एक नॉर्मल तरीका हो गया, बट नाउअडेज द फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट्स आर देयर, सो दे डू अंडरस्टैंड दैट दिस इज नॉट नॉर्मल हार्ट अटैक, दिस इज लाइक द caused one, जानबूझ के किया हुआ, ठीक है। So we are just going to talk about few blockers over here. So a variety of inorganic and organic molecules are there which can modulate ion channel activity and the conductance. So normally ones are the tetrodotoxin, which is used by the pufferfish, and some types of newts for defense. It blocks the sodium channel. So now you have seen where all the sodium channels are involved. So जैसे हमने देखा था ligand gated में involved है, correct? And we also have the normal ion channels in the neurons. तो ligand gated ion channels दोनों में आपके Na+ है. So you can see that suppose I block this or activate ज़्यादा activate कर दूंगी तो we have got the problems with the transmission. Okay, now this is one tetrodotoxin, pufferfish से हम लोग लेते हैं. Now saxitoxin, it is produced by the dinoflagellate known as red tide. Red tide भी आपने सुना होगा. It blocks the voltage dependent sodium channels. Okay, conotoxin is used by cone snails to hunt prey. This is also nice. This is one time only they have asked a question. Okay, इससे ज़्यादा तो नहीं आया है, but it's our responsibility to study all. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now, lidocaine and novocaine. This is like commonly known class of the anesthesia which blocks the sodium ion channels. Then dendrotoxin. This is tetrodotoxin. This is dendrotoxin, which is produced by mamba snakes and blocks the potassium channels. So if you see, ये जो snakes रहते हैं, इनके जो venom होते हैं, okay, the venom is nothing but the peptide. They are peptides only. Okay, so these peptides can go and block the sodium channels or potassium channels. Hence, because of which what will happen, the person dies immediately. अगर उसको जल्दी से नहीं निकाला तो. Is it clear? This slide is also very important, guys. Okay, ये तो आपको याद ही रखना है. But don't worry, nobody is going to ask the mechanism. Just like what toxin does, what kind of blockage in the channels. Okay, So sodium ion channel blockers. So these drugs are used to treat cardiac arrhythmias, seizures and to induce local anesthesia. So अब आपको मालूम है कि जब हमें anesthesia दिया जाता है, so the ingredient present is going to block the sodium ion channel, जिसकी वजह से we don't feel any pain later, है ना? तो हमें क्या होगा, आप कुछ भी कट को ओपन करो, स्टिचेस मारो, we don't feel any pain because our nerve pains, जो nerve fibers हैं, pain nerve fibers हैं, they are blocked, and that's we don't feel any kind of pain. Okay, so the examples are lidocaine, procainamide, quinidine and phenytoin, जिसमें से अगर आपने lidocaine याद किया तो काफी है. That is very common. Now let's talk about the aquaporins. So aquaporins, नाम से ही पता चल रहा है, here we are going to talk about the water channels. So usually, if you remember in the first starting of the lectures, we said that because of the diffusion, okay, the water can pass through the plasma membrane. For example, let us say that cell है, ये आपका osmotic layer है. If you have got high salt concentration here and low salt concentration here, so the water will diffuse, right? Water आपका यहाँ से यहाँ जाएगा, okay? But there are few cases where you need immediate amount of lot of waters. तो उसमें क्या होगा, there is a proper ऐसे डैम, like I can say that कि बारिश से धीरे धीरे पानी इकट्ठा करने से अच्छा है कि हम डैम ओपन करके सारा पानी एक साथ ले लें, ठीक है? Same analogy, sometimes you need more amount of water, so that time these aquaporin gets open and huge amount of water will be taken inside or outside, okay? Now water channel, so it mainly facilitates transport of water between the cells, and flow rate is about 10 raised to 9 water molecules per second. It has got 6 membrane spanning alpha helical domains, important guys, with carboxylic and amino terminals on the cytoplasmic side. यानी कि क्या? If this is a plasma membrane, this is a water channel, both N and C terminal are in the cytoplasm side. Okay. Now, there are two hydrophobic loops which contain the conserved amino acids. That is known as NPA motif. This is also important. NPA is your asparagine, proline, alanine. Okay. Now, this forms a barrel surrounding its central pore-like region which contains additional protein density. So, this is the NPA. अभी अगर मैं आपको बोलूं ऐसा कौन सा चैनल है जहाँ पे एनपीए प्रेजेंट है, what it is helping in that, तो आंसर होना चाहिए that this is your aquaporins. NPA is a motif which is helping in the water transport. ठीक है, एक ऐसे ही क्वेश्चन आ चुका है लास्ट से. Okay, so what about the simple diffusion of water? So anyways, I already mentioned this. So because aquaporins are usually always open and are prevalent in just about every cell type, this leads to misconception that water readily passes through the membrane. But no, it is like water can pass through the membrane through the simple diffusion जो भी हमने discuss किया, जहाँ पे भी concentration gradient होगा, ठीक है? But the process is very slow, right? It will take time to attain equilibrium, and then only the water level will be same in both the areas, right? But अगर आपको जरूरत है अचानक से बहुत amount of water की, then aquaporins are going to play important role. Now let's talk about the structure of your aquaporin. So it has got 6 transmembrane alpha helices. अभी just mention किया था. Between the helices there are 5 regions: A, B, C, D, E. See, look it over here. Already 6 helices are there. Guys, can you see the structure? Are you able to follow? Yeah. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 helices. इनके बीच में we have got the 5 different regions are there. Loop regions A, B, C, D, and E. Okay. Now, your NP region is over here. Okay. Now, AR/R is the selectivity filter, which is a cluster of amino acids which enable the aquaporin to selectively let through or block the passage of different molecules. Clear? Is it clear, guys? So, यहाँ का selectivity filter क्या करता है? It will allow only water to pass and does not allow the other ones. Okay? Now, अगर आप यहाँ पे देखोगे कि क्या दिखा रहे हैं, AQPB and all prokaryotic archaea, so they're just showing the difference in the length of the loop. In the case of eukaryotic इतना रहेगा, prokaryotic इतना रहेगा. ठीक है? Different names of the loop region they have mentioned. what you have to remember is it is a B region which is carrying the NPA. Okay, the NPA motif is present. Now again, look at the structure. So NPA, asparagine, proline कहाँ है इसमें दिख नहीं रहा अभी फिलहाल. हाँ, this is histidine, this is arginine, asparagine again. So this is the selectivity filter. Now can you see in this region so many water molecules are going, correct? So as I said, it is 10 raised to 9 water molecules per second. So you can see that these selectivity filter is helping in making the interaction with the water molecules, and it is allowing only water molecules to pass through. Clear? What you can remember is that NPA is helping in the water transport. Guys, are you able to follow? Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay. Cool. Now location and function. Why I added this? Actually, I directly have taken from the Wikipedia because the questions are directly from this topic. Okay, so Aquaporins में जो question आया था, it was like what are the different types present in the ये the tonoplast. So tonoplast में किस तरह का present है? Okay. So in the case of mammals, it is only known as the aquaporins, and they are present over here in the kidney. So it is obviously right understood कि kidney में आपके aquaporins ज़्यादा क्यों होंगे? Of course, for the water reabsorption, correct? Now, in the case of the other subfamilies, plasma membrane intrinsic proteins, tonoplast in the case of your plant cell, then nodulin in the case of the root nodules, and the other small basic intrinsic proteins are there. So what you have to remember in this slide is aquaporin, the tonoplast and the nodulin. ठीक है? So ये आपको याद रखना है. अगर कल को इन्होंने ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछा like what do you mean by the tonoplast intrinsic protein, so you should know that they are the aquaporins in the plants. बस काफी है. More than enough. Okay. Now coming to the clinical significance. So suppose there is a mutation in the aquaporin gene. It is going to lead to nephrogenic diabetes insipidus in humans. And the other autoimmune reactions will be happening if it is aquaporin 4. See, 2 hai yahan pe, fourth one hai. And the disease are known as Divix disease or the neuromyelitis optica, which is a central nervous system disorder which affects the eye nerves. Naam se hi pata chal raha hai, right? And the spinal cord myelitis. So just remember about the NO में ये नहीं पूछा है आज तक. They have not asked, but this was asked. Diabetes insipidus in humans, right? So this you can remember. Okay, so that's all, guys, and this topic is over now.